Hey guys, it's Matt from Electric All Wheel. So recently, you may have seen the Gravity X-Rod build with the 1000-watt Bafang mid-drive, which I have right here beside me. I built this bike, it was originally purchased. I was just gonna have a replacement for mine, but realized that the capital, right? I need a rollover on the cash. So my brother, who has never ridden an electric bike and never owned one, said that he would buy it from me and that I could have that capital back to go ahead and do another build video. So, knowing that he has never ridden an electric bike and knowing what this thing is capable of and all of the stuff that you can do to modify it, upgrade it, etc., I wanted to make a little video and share with him some of that stuff. So here we go. This bike is the Dillinger Off-Road Kit Class 3 setup. It does reach over 30 miles an hour. I have been that fast on it. It does require some pedal assist, and it's not sustainable, and it would drain your battery pretty fast, but it does do it, and it's pretty awesome. A Class 3 by regulation, just know that it goes faster than 20 miles an hour. Most of your trails, especially here, the trail speed limit is 20 miles an hour, and a Class 3 with pedal assist on that setup, they do have those limits. So it's just saying this is not set up for the regulatory status of being Class 2, which would get you within the legal limits for other bikes. Long story short, just maintain the speed limit. All that being said, it's only fair that I advocate for wearing a helmet. At 20 miles an hour, that wreck would be pretty harsh. At 32, it can be deadly. So I'm asking you and everybody to put on your helmet and wear it. So with this model, the combo brake, and hydraulic brake and shifter cable setup made it a little more complicated for the location of the throttle. This is the left-hand throttle, and that's based only on what came with the kit. They do make some apparati, if you will, an attachment and adapter where it can set the throttle on its side and you basically push from the side. But on this model, I put the throttle on the left along with the gear selection for PAS on the left as well. It's also the location of the power button. So the display for this bike is a C965, and it does read out standard and metric. It has your typical trip meter, it has odometer, it also has your battery power layout. So it's pretty intuitive. I didn't get a color display, but I also know that Dillinger took the time to pick the right one for this. It's not Bluetooth, but it gets the job done. It's backlit for night ride or when it gets out there and it's dark. So I feel like it was a good purchase with this kit and a good pick on Dillinger's part to put it with this setup. I want to say that another reason for the purchase and the selection on this style was it does fit the traditional bike racks. Anything larger on the wheel or tire size, and you're going to have to get a fat tire rack. I use the Swagman, and it's one of their standard racks, just over $100, $120 I believe. And I also try and focus on the fact that I want to make sure that it's racked to a hitch because the bikes are heavy. We will take the battery off when it's transport, but the bikes are heavy and it does reach the capacity limits for those bike racks. So just be careful. A word of caution for this bike and what it means is that these batteries can output a lot of power, a lot of amperage, and I don't know if you've ever looked at the electric bike video explosions or fires on the internet, but it's worth a go. And I say that to illustrate and emphasize the fact that it can be dangerous, so take care of this battery. I wouldn't deplete the battery all the way. Try and never let it sit for more than 2 to 3 months without charging it, and keep it in a place where you feel comfortable with its storage. The batteries are keyed, so you have to have this to remove it from the bike itself. It is specially keyed for the battery and numbered, and so that you're going to have to think about that if you're on a removal track for moving your bike and taking the battery off and don't lose your keys. One thing I don't like about these is the little plastic end where the ring goes through. It's all plastic, no metal, so it does break. Be careful. Just wanted to go over again, the charger that comes with this is pretty self-explanatory. It's on, off. It'll light up green when it's ready. It's red when it's not. Just keep in mind that you just don't deplete the battery all the way. When you're down to that last bar, it's time to put it on charge. If you do, I don't think it's gonna be terrible, you know, once or twice, but just mind the battery. The battery is the heart, and it's the most amount of money for the whole bike itself. I use mostly zip ties on this build, and in doing that, I try to keep the cables tight and centralized, but there may be some opportunity for some modification and upgrade, and you can remove those, try and find a better mounting place, a different orientation. But one thing I do suggest is taking a trip into Harbor Freight and picking up some heat shrink wrap and putting it over, I believe it's the Anderson connections for the battery, the red and the black. And in doing so, you'll give it a little more weatherproofing and keep that connection tight. One of my favorite features on this bike is the red bling ring, and I did not know that it was going to be red when I purchased it, but I was super happy it was when I got it. It actually matches the offset color red on the front for the Gravity X-Rod, so it was a perfect accessory. Draws a little of attention, it's not too much, it's great. The one thing I don't like about it is the bling ring doesn't have the chain guard, so you got to be mindful of your shoelaces and don't get them run through there. Shoelaces and baggy jeans will get caught up in your chain ring, and it causes a very bad day. There are no kit lights that came with this from Dillinger, but the Bafang BBSHD has a cable on it, which I looped and strapped to the post right under the seat, and it's there so you can add an integrated headlight that you can control with your display. You're pretty fortunate to have had me go through this already, so I can tell you right now that you're going to want to pick up some of these bad boys. They are the M5 0.8 times 16 millimeter screws, and these screws fit the actual integrated holes for your mounting hardware for baskets, pannier racks, etc. All that being said, I do recommend getting a basket, getting the rear rack for this thing, and some fenders, because if you get out there and it's a wet road, you ride through a puddle, whatever, you're definitely going to want those. You don't want that streak right up the middle of your chest. So, I hope you found this video helpful. I hope you found it very helpful, and I'm super jealous of your bike. This thing is gonna be great. It's gonna need some tune-up. Eventually, you're gonna need to take it to a shop, so make sure you find a good, friendly shop that'll work on your electric bike. That was another main focus for this one, is to keep the bike parts standard so that it can be worked on just like a normal bike. You don't really have to do much with any of the chain line, etc., except get it tuned when it stretches out and get there and make sure your derailleur's all right and it's shifting well. I'm jealous. I look forward to dropping this off to you, and I definitely look forward to seeing that first smile on your face when you ride this electric bike. It's gonna be epic. For all those fans out there of electric all-wheel, we really appreciate your help and support. If you're new to it and this is the first time seeing one of our videos, please hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. We're making this content for you. We'll talk to you next time.